All right, so we are looking for the Cove School. So let me get that open. So your questions are valid and hard to answer through text and verbiage because it all depends on how there's a lot that will determine on how we do this. Put it that way. It'll be more clear here once we start getting into it, once I get this model open. Which building? You want to do the school?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and along with the storefront surrounds on the interior or on the indoors, like there's some storefront windows with
Hmm.
mullions at odds, heights, etc. that I would
Sure.
like to figure out how to gauge or how to make.
All right. So as this is loading, I'll give you my spiel. Um, I typically do all interior and all exterior windows using this curtain wall tool in Revit. And what you'll see here is, as I go through this, is I'll show you kind of the process and why the process is the way it is, because it'll save you time. Um, I will say I don't have many door types that have side lights. I have one that has one side light and it has the ability to be able to split it horizontally. So there's one on top of the other. But other than that, do everything as a curtain wall storefront and you'll see why. The main reason why I started doing it that way back in the day was because um, there was it was a pain in the rear end to try to keep that many families in a library. You know, you had very limited server room and there's so many different options that you could have built into a door, right? I mean, you could have five side lights, two on each side, three on one side. You can have transoms, you can have all that stuff. Well, that's something that the curtain wall Revit tool does very well. So I've always built mine like that because that's kind of how they're built, right? Even whether it's a knockdown frame or, a borrowed light hollow metal frame, whatever, they're still building it usually in pieces. Whether if it's prefabbed, it's still pieces, right? So I use that for everything. I use it for hollow metal and aluminum and any other light generic window frame type is so it works for everything really. In plan, all you're caring about at an 1/8 inches, the 2 by 5 3/4 depth, or if it's a curtain wall, it's 2.5 by 7.5 deep, right? So, other than that, you'll see here kind of how this works. I'm going to go to a working view. KGR. Who's KGR? That's you. Guess I didn't know your middle name was G. So let's just go
Oh,
ahead and use yours.
okay.
All right. So let's find where's that can you send me that PDF and I can open that up too? Or you already sent it to. Actually, you know what? Don't worry about it. I will just grab the screen capture and show that. Um so let's pick an easy one. Okay, before we go any further, there is um a difference between what I would call a window frame type and a door frame type. In essence, any curtain wall or window system that has a door in it to me is a door frame type, and that's how I model them, and that's how. And the whole reason is because it ties back to the door schedule, right? So this frame type A is A. With this right here, see how this one? I don't know if I can zoom in. Yes, I can. Let's zoom in here a little bit further if I can. A little bit this way. These are always fun to maneuver. There we go. We're getting there. Okay. So you can see that that first one is this door here. Well, this door is a window, but it's a door frame because it has door panels in it.
Hmm.
Now, we didn't, in this particular project, the way it sits right here, they didn't make that distinction, it appears. It appears they have hollow metal frames and aluminum frames. I've never split them up that way. If you want to split them up that way, we can. It just makes it a little bit more difficult because, as you look through here, we have frame type 4 and frame type B. Well, did they actually do that? Yeah, they did. They actually did the different, which can be confusing, but it can be done. I can just tell you from our standard that we've been using is if you look at the Revit model, and you go look at the sheet, the door and frame schedule sheet, you'll see that it's broken up between window frame types and door frame types. And notice that there is nothing showing here. That's important. So it looks like you guys are gonna have quite a few of them here. So I'm just gonna move these down a little bit. All right, so here's your door panel types: flush, full glass, narrow, half glass, and a slider is what we have in there. If you have any other ones, we have to create them. But let's just do, I don't know, let me ask you guys this. Is there any,
Go to the
like,
door schedule. I
what's,
can show you which ones that we don't have.
yeah,
Sorry to interject.
nope, that's totally fine. Feel free to stop me whenever because I feel like I'm rambling. So, like which one do we want to do and do you know where it goes?
You want to do the front door, Marcus, or what do you think?
Yeah,
Since that's like the most, that's going to show up in your model or the renderings for when you leave on Monday.
yeah, no, the front door, which is
So it's 101.
yeah, and I think it's that aluminum frame type.
So it says A, so it
A.
is this guy. All right.
Yeah,
So
it's 12 feet tall, 11 feet tall. Yeah.
let's go ahead and create that one. So the height of it is crucial too.
Right.
Because obviously storefronts are good usually up to about 12 feet. And anytime you get over 12 feet, it's got to be a curtain wall because it's got to have some structure in it. In this case, it's 11, so I think we're right on that cusp. You could probably go either way, but let's just do it as a storefront for now. So if you can, take a screenshot of this guy so I don't have to keep trying to bring this guy over to show you. Because I'm going to have that on a different screen and it's not going to record here.
Yeah, I've got
it.
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay. So let me move this over to this other screen here. All right. So where in this project does that go? Does that go
The main entry to the right, plan right.
East entrance down.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
This one right here?
Yep.
All right. All right. So I will tell you this. And please don't take any derogatory criticism out of this. You don't ever want to do it like this, and there's a lot of reasons why. I get it. That's why we're here today, is to learn how to do this the right way. But just know that we're going to replace these because that's not what you want to do. And there's like I said, there's several reasons why. But let's go ahead and take this one. You have a door schedule already, but is there any data filled out in it? All right, good, because we're going to be deleting this.
Or not that I did. Did you fill in? I don't think there should be anything. I think it's just,
doesn't look like
it's all generic. Yeah, it's
Awesome.
generic.
Yeah,
enough.
this is
Awesome.
a placeholder, so I could show show people a plan that had doors in it.
Yep, sounds good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and build this thing. Okay. And sorry, Kyla, I'm going to turn off a lot of your annotations here. Feel free to turn these back on, but I just want to turn off these extra lines and we'll deal with this topo as well. Don't let me forget that.
Okay.
I'm just going to turn all this stuff off because, it is a working view and we want it to be clean. Okay. So this is what I tend to do. This is my workflow. Once you do it enough times, you don't have to go to this level, but what I like to do is I like to also have a 3D view open. And I'll turn off all of this, all of that, all of the DWGs. I don't care about the filters. This is all fine, and that's all fine. In fact, I'm going to turn this site off too, because that'll help speed it up a little. All right, so what I'll do is, sometimes even, Kyla, you might appreciate this, is I'll come into this floor plan here and I'll just grab this spot, QQQ, call it my own view. And then I would then redo everything I just did because I just want to shrink it down, right? But this is a pretty common workflow for me on almost everything that I do. So we want to look at this wall. So this is the wall right here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this guy. So if you hit WT, it'll tile them so you can see them right next to each other. And I'm only going to do that right here because obviously I can only record one screen. All right, so now we're ready to go. And I'm actually going to save this so I don't lose it real quick. And this is fun. You like that guy?
Yeah, what? Oh, yeah.
Because it's a wrap frame and not a butted frame. So this one, technically, you can use this family, not a problem. But you'd want to put this as a butted frame because it's a G, so we'll go with that guy. There we go. Graphic looks a little bit better. The other thing we're going to do is I'm going to go turn those guys off because we do not need to see all that. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go to doors and I'm going to turn off all swings. All elevation swings, I should say. There we go. All right, here we go. All right, so you're going to go to wall. Are you guys familiar with the storefront or the curtain wall system tool at all?
I know it exists, and I've
It's been a
played with
minute.
it.
I haven't used it basically since I did Menominee.
Okay. All right, cool. So that just helps me so I don't regurgitate stuff that you guys might already know. So you go through the regular wall command, right? So it's wall architectural. And then you scroll, if it starts up here, you scroll down to the bottom and you'll see the curtain walls. And these are all the types that we have preloaded. Let's see here. All right, so the first thing you're going to notice is let's look at these curtain walls and storefronts. And you see there's a bunch of different types, right? And there's a reason for this. And just as a quick example, I'm just going to start out with an exterior curtain wall locked. You guys can probably figure out the interior exterior thing, but I'm going to go ahead and create that one. And then I'm going to create the exterior unlocked. And then I'm going to create the exterior locked for this storefront and the exterior unlocked for the storefront. So the interior is just interior. They're no different. So I've got to change my crop region so I can actually see those. There we go. So you have any idea what the differences are in these? Feel free to shout it out.
Between the interior and exterior storefronts?
No, between locked and unlocked mainly, first of all.
I could theorize about it, but you could just tell us.
Okay, I can do that. I like to get people
no.
interactive because then I don't feel like I'm just.
Marcus, do you know the difference?
I'm assuming it has something to do with the mullions and
That's
some
what I was
parameters.
thinking.
You got
Yeah.
it. All right, so let's
You
start
would've
with.
guessed.
Yeah, you would get. Let's start with the reason why I always start with a locked. So it's this guy right here. So every curtain wall system has a preset set of parameters in it. In this case, we want to use minimum spacing of 3 foot, both vertical and horizontal. So what that means is depending on the length, it's going to split it into sections vertically. And depending on the height, it's going to split it into 3 foot sections horizontally. Okay, hence these guys. So these are probably a 3 foot, and this could be 3 foot. I don't know how tall I made them. It looks like I made them 12 feet unconnected. So that probably is a 3 foot panel. Notice that this is the part you want to notice, that it's first of all, the function is exterior, which is it's important, but not really important. It's important for if you're trying to isolate the exterior windows in a schedule or something. So that's why I use interior exterior. But the bigger part of this is these sections down here. So what this is saying is every time I create one of these, it's going to create a minimum mullion at 3 foot spacing vertically and 3 foot horizontally, and it's going to use these wall or window mullion type profiles. Okay, so this curtain wall exterior locked is 2.5 by 7.5, which is a pretty common curtain wall size. And storefront exterior is 2 inch by 5.5, which typically it's 2 inch by 5 3/4, but who's counting? So you can see that's the only difference between the curtain wall locked and the curtain wall unlocked. Spacings are the same, everything is the same, it's just the mullion type, right? So why would somebody need an unlocked?
They can manipulate it.
Yes, exactly. You can see I created them, but it created this weird vertical piece and a couple of them, right? Basically, I can come into any one of these and I can move this mullion if I unpin it to wherever I want, right? And if for some reason this gets messed up or it gets longer, and you notice what it did, see how it set these guys in here? It's creating more of them. And it really shouldn't be. So this is an unlocked and this is messed up. So there's no layout. There's no layout. That's what the unlocked is supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was me messing around trying to figure out how to get it to work right.
Yep. So what that did now is, let me go ahead and create another one of these. See what it did? It didn't create any mullions in the middle.
Right.
So now if I was to create from this, I'd have to create my own curtain grids to start, right? Which is just an extra step. Whereas if I started with this guy, which is the storefront locked, right? Storefront locked, immediately, as soon as I'm done modeling that, I would change it to an unlocked and then forget about it. And I wouldn't delete it. And you know why I do this? Is because because now I can change and add curtain grids anywhere I want and they won't reset. If this was locked and I tried to create one here, it would ultimately create one here, but it would also leave the other one spaced the way that they were originally told to.
So I'm sorry. I feel like I missed. So you said to start with the locked one and then
immediately change it.
So why wouldn't you just start with the unlocked one?
Because that's a good question. The difference between them are this one and this one.
Oh,
right?
Because it has the mullions in it.
Yeah, it has mullions in it based on 3-foot spacing, which is pretty normal. I mean, we might adjust them to 4 foot, we might adjust them to other, but at least gives you something to start with.
Because the other one's just like glaze. Yeah. Okay. So it's just glazing.
It's just right.
And you can't just add individual mullions into that.
You can,
but it's more complicated. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I could come in here and add a curtain grid anywhere I want in this, right? I mean, I can add them, as long as I can add them like that. And the cool thing is
there's a tool on the ribbon.
Yes, this curtain grid, and I can move things and it won't accidentally or basically automatically create additional mullions based on that locked pattern. If I was to try to do that with this locked pattern, let's say, so see what it did, it automatically kept them 3 foot. Let's say I try to create a curtain grid in this one. So I'll create a curtain grid in this one and we'll go horizontal first and we'll go vertical next. So depending on what happens here, if I unpin this, and we basically we can move this one down here, over here, we can move this one to wherever we want. Eventually, at some point, this is going to get reset. So what happens is if I pin this guy, sorry, not pin it. If I pin this and I pin this, it doesn't matter. It'll still reset eventually. And what causes that is there's several different things that can cause that. So did you see that? I just changed the size of it and see how I added new mullions. So one would say, well, that's not a big deal. I'm never going to change the length of the window. Sure. I believe you.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
This is going to continuously screw up. And this is important because we're going to group these based on the letter that we want to use for the frame type, right?
Right.
Because there's an organization to this. And there's a reason why we do this. It's so we can change, if we need to change this guy in a group, it'll change it everywhere, right?
Yep.
So that's our, yes.
Can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
Because you mentioned the frame types and what we'll have to do for the schedule. So whenever, for example, and I'm jumping ahead, I realize, but let's say there are 6 different interior frame types. So each time am I duplicating it and then am I starting with a locked one and then switching it over and then duplicating it so that I have frame type A? Like how is that going to work down the road?
You are correct. That is exactly what you're going to do.
Okay,
Not necessarily in that order,
Of course.
because you can create a bunch of them all the way around, which is what I would suggest doing is I create all my individual types that I know I'm going to have. I don't, if I've got
Oh.
5 of the same, I don't create them all
Yeah.
right away, because I want to get those groups arranged and set up to where then I can just grab the group, and I'll show you this in a second. Grab the group, bring it over, drop it in, and you know that these are all the same. They're all going to tag the same. They're all going to be the same
Mhm.
size. And if these 55 windows that go all the way around the building change to an inch wider, when you change it in one, they all change.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. So you're just saying build all your types and
Yes,
then that's
absolutely.
great.
And you make them
I love that.
groups because they're not families,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
And then you
because
copy the group and put them in, and they work
Well-
similarly because they're curtain walls.
I mean, you don't, I was gonna say you don't necessarily make them a group, you just switch them, you go to your properties and change it there. Cause you're
Well,
making it, duplicating it, right?
we will group them so that it's
Okay.
multi-layered, because
Oof.
this is still called curtain wall exterior unlocked, but we don't know what
Okay.
to call this yet, because usually you'll start at your main entrance and you work your way clockwise or counterclockwise or in some way to where it's A, B, C type, D type,
Yeah.
all the way around the building, right? We don't know what that is yet, and we don't need to know what it is yet. All we need to know is that, I mean, in this case, we know this door is, there's going to be 2 of them, right? There's going to be one here and there's going to be one here.
Yeah,
More
that
than
one's
likely.
a little bit different.
They'll be different, but yeah, there are 2
Yeah.
doors.
Okay,
It's just
so
10, it's a 10 feet versus 11 feet, but it's the same thing.
sure. So, and that's crucial to know, because we
Yep.
would have separate types for each one of these,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
All right. So, because the frame type elevation, if you remember, is where you get all your dimensions from. So anything that's unique and different, you will bring that into your frame type plan.
Mhm.
All right. So now that we know that we want to do this as a storefront because it's 11 foot, and we want to use the unlocked version, I'm going to go ahead and delete these, because that's all I was doing those for, was to kind of show you the difference. And I'm going to make these thin lines so you can see, you can
Yes.
tell that this is inside out, right? It's facing the wrong way. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it. And you could tell because the glass is usually towards the outside, not the inside. And if you select it, you can see that the flip button is always on the exterior side of the window.
Oh, that's good.
See-
That's a handy trick.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yep.
So-
Okay, so now that we have this, I'm going to go ahead and move this into the place. So the cool thing about these R2 is that you don't have joining issues most of the time. You don't necessarily with families either, but this automatically embeds itself into this wall when I move it. But before I do that, I want to touch on something really quick that's important. So the first thing that I do is I create it from, I'm just going to create a new one from scratch, just so you can see the entire process. It's not super long, but so I'm going to create this with an exterior locked. I could preset this, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. In this case, I know I want it to be 11 feet, right? So I don't do unconnected. I use it based on the level. So I'm going to create this at 11 feet high. So when I draw this, we're going to get
That's just-
11 feet high window. Okay. So that's the top part of the window to match. If you refer back to your frame type A, that matches it in terms of height. Now I could have matched it in terms of width here real easy too. I could change this to 8'10". I could have drawn it, whatever, right? I'm going to flip it. So now I know the overall size of this thing is correct. Now we just got to manipulate the mullions. But before I do that, I'm actually going to place this in the wall. So you can either move it to the center. So you can either grab this and move it to the center of the wall, or you can align it to it, either way. So I'll just align it. See how it automatically embeds itself?
Yeah.
So at this point, I can check dimensions. If I turn them on to get it located in the right spot. And again, I missed my most important thing, so I'll touch on that now. And let's go ahead and move this to 4 feet. I don't know what it's going to be. We'll figure that out in a little bit. Not crucial at this point, but this is 8'10". It's 12 feet tall. The one thing that I forgot to tell you is, and I'm going to move this out of this wall, hopefully. I want to unlock it So it's out of well, what I forgot to tell you, after I draw that in, the first thing I do every single time when I do a curtain wall or storefront is I right click these ends and disallow join. And there's a huge reason for that. The biggest reason is, and I don't necessarily want to demonstrate it because when you see it, you're gonna be like, ah, damn, I didn't disallow join. If this gets close enough to another wall, it'll extend the length of it.
Mm.
It'll extend the height of it. It'll do its own thing. So that's why as long as you disallow join on both of these, it'll stay this 8'10" forever.
Okay.
Okay.
So it works. It's got autonomy, and it doesn't. It's like a ceiling grid being connected or something.
Yep. That's
Okay.
exactly what it does. It auto joins to something that's
Yeah.
next to it. So next thing you
Got it.
know, if you don't disallow join that in your groups are then you get the warning that says all groups are not the same. What do you want to do? Do you want to ungroup them all, or do you want to create a new type? Well, you don't want to do any of that. So you'd be better off just to cancel that, come in and disallow the joins, then proceed with it, moving it into place. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this back. That's a big tip because that
Yeah.
has annoyed me in my life more than you can know. And then same thing goes here. I can select this guy and, so I guess I can't select that grid there, but that's okay because it's a door. So again, I'm gonna just make sure that this makes sense. That's fine. We'll deal with that later because we'll group it and go through all that process. Okay, so now this is where the real magic happens. So we're gonna recreate that. If you're looking at your aluminum frame type A, we're gonna do that over here now. So I have, I forgot, you guys didn't catch me. I didn't change it to an unlocked yet.
I was waiting.
Yeah, okay, that's good. And you just always say okay on this. It's fine.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about it because all it's basically saying is basically, do you want it to delete these mullions? And of course not. That's the reason why we switch it, right? We want to be able to start with something.
Right.
So in this case, we know, let's take a look at let's do the widths first, okay? So to change the width of this panel, you guys know how to do this, right? You can either do it from plan view or you can do it from 3D view, either one, or you can do it from elevation too, but sometimes it's harder to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first thing. Let's deal with that 1'4" and 1/8. Okay. The good thing is that 1'4" and 1/8 is going to the center of that mullion, which is important. This is another huge part of this.
Do you think that I don't know that the 8th is, I think the 8th is wrong.
It probably is, but I was going to match it exactly.
I think we should go with the 1'4".
Okay.
It seems like that if the one
Sure.
you look at B, it looks like a 1'4". I don't
Yeah.
know,
So where did this set come from?
it's a set by Encompass that the BIA said this was a bad set.
Okay.
We
Well,
need
yeah,
to redo it. So
you
we're
can see it
redoing
right
it.
here.
So when you see stuff that's wrong, we assume it's wrong.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, this is kind of cool. So we're basically rebuilding their set for them. So your new set's
Yep.
going to look exactly like this, but with accurate crap in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mostly.
gotcha.
And the building's going to be a little bit different layout,
Gotcha.
but look
Fun.
the same.
This sounds like a fun project to work on. This is the kind of stuff I like to do. All right. So
Well, you'll be deeply involved, I promise.
I mean, I hate doing this stuff. I don't want any part of this. I don't know. No. All right. So let's go ahead and use 1'4", for instance. The interesting thing is the dimensions that they did here are weird. That's not how I dimension them. We dimension mullion widths and not to the centers, right?
Okay. That makes
So,
sense.
That being said, let's figure out this 1'4" and 1/8. So the good thing is because they gave us 1'4" to the center, we don't have to do any math, which kind of sucks because this is one of the big reasons why I like to show people this. But because we know to the center of that mullion is 1'4", boom, we know where that is. Normally, you would see 2" whatever that distance is, 2" whatever that distance is, 2" and then the overall. Which is what ours will look like when we're done. It's not going to be 1'4" to the center, 3'1". It's not going to do any of that, right?
So ours are going from like inside mullion to inside mullion just to set the glazing size. Is that it?
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
gonna because this makes the guy have to do math, right? And we know that the frame type, depending on the manufacturer, the size of it could be different. We're gonna
Sure,
say we want
exactly.
2". We might say we want 2.5, but who knows what we're gonna get depending on the manufacturer that creates it.
Gotcha.
So we just want to tell them, hey, this is what our intent is. It's overall 8'10". The mullions are all 2 inch. If yours are 2 1/4, adjust these dimensions as needed.
Okay.
And because it says see door schedule, they have to meet that door schedule opening size. So what's gonna be a plus or minus is basically that 1'4", right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So now that we've got that one, I'm going to go ahead and create this curtain grid from up here because it'll let me actually go over the distance. There it is. I've got that 1'4". And then you'll also notice that we've got a middle one at the top for the transom, right?
Mhm.
So there's two different ways we can do this. I can go ahead and create this one and edit it, or we can go directly to the 3D view and just click one segment, and we can just create it right there. So you can do either or.
Cool.
Okay. All right. You
How
also
did you start the new one again?
Oh, see, now you're giving me a reason not to have to watch the video, Marcus.
No.
All right. So if I go to curtain grid and I click one segment up here in the option bar,
One segment. Gotcha.
and then I just click it there. Now, the other thing that you'll notice here is it does matter which one of these is passing through the other, right? Most of the time your horizontals are through and your verticals stack on top of each one, right? Sometimes your curtain wall system will go all the way down the bottom and these are halfway because it all depends on the system, right? I typically don't worry about this real quick off the bat, but I know that this is going to be a transom, so I might as well go ahead and make it look that way, right? This is a very simple point that not a lot of Reviteers remember to deal with.
What did you do to? How did you change the order?
There's this little icon right there,
Oh, okay.
toggle
Got it.
mullion join. You just click it
Oh,
back and
okay. It's
forth.
like a joint, like a wall join, but for
Yep.
mullions.
And I could have done it from any of these, right? I can
Okay.
do it from any one of these. It doesn't matter. It
Cool.
can only go one of two ways. All right. So let's go ahead and get rid of this part. Okay.
Mhm.
But when you look at frame type A, we have an 8-inch mullion at the bottom and 1'11" to the center of the horizontal, the intermediate, is another dimension we got to take account of. Okay.
Mm.
So this is going to give us a little bit of everything. It's going to show you how to create
Yeah.
new mullion types and all kinds of stuff. So buckle up. No. All right. So we're going to select this guy, and just like how we added by one segment, we can also add and remove segments. So once I click this, and trying to grab this thing can be a pain in the rear end. I'm not going to lie to you, because sometimes you'll be in a view with a particular skewed angle and you can't get to it. But if you tab through to that dashed line, you'll be able to select it. And you have to select it first before you can remove. So I'm going to click add remove, and I'm going to click the center spot. So what that did is it just basically removed, it basically is telling it that this is one full size panel now. It's not split, which is what we want because this is a double door. And we have a double door curtain wall panel that we will fit in here in a second. Okay. So the next thing we want to check, and this is in no particular order, is we want to check and look at this height. Now you can see how it stopped midway. I'm going to pull it down to the bottom. And we know that the center of that mullion is 7'3" and 171/256. Not ideal, right? Again, frame type A, because they did dimension to the center, makes it a little bit easier for us. We don't have to do as much math. But I will tell you this. One way to be able to tell where that's got to go is immediately you can unpin either way and delete that mullion because this door panel size will
Oh.
report itself. And so now I'm going to go back and click this again. So I get that temporary dimension, and now it's 7'3" and 171/256. What do you think that actual dimension needs to be to result in a 7-foot door panel? Any ideas?
Marcus?
All right. What needs to happen is go to the center line of the center mullion.
Yep.
And it's on the ground. Is that right?
Yep.
Then we'd need to know the size of the mullion.
Yep.
And then
Which is 2 inches.
2 inches. So if it's center line, then we've got 1 inch. So then we need 1 inch and the difference of 171 and 256.
So this wants to be what? You're right there. 7'1",
Ah, yeah,
because it's 7 foot to the underside.
Right,
And
and
because
2
this
inches,
dimension
yeah.
goes to the middle, so you got to split it in half. And to
No.
double check this, you can tab through to this panel and look over here on the left, height 7 feet. Perfect. Width 6 feet. Perfect.
Nice.
Now,
Oh,
since
right,
I have,
because I was trying to get to 7'4".
is that where you want it? Are these 7'4"
No,
doors?
because I was just considering
Gotcha.
the size of the header.
Well,
But no,
you got a good point though, because 7 foot isn't a masonry opening number.
no,
7'4" is.
yeah, our doors will be 7 feet tall,
With a
but our
4-inch head.
masonry opens will be 7'4".
Okay. So that's great to know, because now we know that's another thing I'm going to be able to show you is how to change the size of these guys.
Let me look at the elevations.
I would
Yeah.
assume that they're going to be 7'4" with 4-inch heads. Sometimes they'll do 7'2" doors with 2-inch heads. That's the newest craze.
Yeah, I'm
Shouldn't-
not, we're only commissioned to match, so we're not supposed
So
to innovate.
gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
So all these doors say 7 feet. So it's going to have to be a 4-inch head. We have to assume that, right?
I think so.
Even though they didn't dimension this, that to me looks like it's, well, you can't see it, but that, let me move this over. It does not look like they dimension this, and that does not look any different than that guy.
Yeah, and that's consistent. Like I don't, they are inconsistent about what they're
Yep.
doing.
Yep.
So,
All right.
and I would assume that we'd want our mullion heads to align with that, across our elevations.
Yep. With your masonry dimensions. So
Yep.
if you go to 7'4", it's going to line up with that guy.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yep, perfect. All right. So the one thing that I didn't do is I didn't put this additional horizontal in here. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there right now. Curtain grid. And it looks like it's 1'6" to the center, So there we go. Now, keep in mind that center to center isn't going to be 1'6" when we're done, because we're going to make this a 4-inch head instead of a 2.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe we split the difference when we get, I don't know, whatever.
We'll figure that part out. We can
Yeah.
always adjust it, fine tune it later. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and stick a door in here. Do you know what door type you want? Do you want a full glass? Is it glass? It probably says up here, right?
It says, yeah, it's door type D. So it is the storefront door with the center rail.
I'm looking for, there we go. Oh, okay. So it's an FG2.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to
But
go
it's
up here.
got like the panel for the panic hardware.
Yep. Yep. That's an FG2. An FG would just be a full glass without that.
Ah,
Intermediate.
right. Okay.
Okay. So we've got this guy selected. I've unpinned it so I can change it. So now I can actually scroll through here and find, and what I'm looking for is since it's an exterior door and it's full glass type. So we have FGs and FG2s. So the only two doors are this guy. Okay.
Oh, you selected the panel.
And this guy.
Yeah, that's cool.
That opens up all these other things. Okay, that's what I knew it was doing wrong. Like I remember that from. I was like, I can't figure out how we did that.
Yep. So
Okay.
it's the actual curtain wall panel. So these are curtain wall panels, CWP, but they're unique. They're unique in the fact that they can be curtain wall panels for windows or doors. In this case, they're doors, so it comes in as a door family, not a curtain wall panel, even though that's what it really is.
Oh.
So now I can just insert my door into it. So this is an exterior. I'm going to put an exterior FG2 on it. And planned, is it rotate? Is it open the way I want it? Yes. With egress, right? And once I click this, it's the same thing as clicking the panel. I can double check at any time the size. So this 6 foot by 7 foot is exactly what we want. We want 2 3-foot O doors here. So that door right there is money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So now let's deal with this mullion down here and this mullion up here. So I think I already have 4-inch already in here. And if I don't, we'll have to create them all. But I'm going to select all those and then just unpin them. And then let's go look and see what sizes we have. Oh, we don't have it. So I'm going to duplicate this. Duplicate. And I'm going to change this 4-inch by 5.5. again, it should be 5 3/4, but I'm not that worried about it. You can leave it at 5.5. It's not a huge deal. And this is a storefront. Now, eventually we'll all understand that a 5.5 inch deep is a storefront, but just for now, get used to doing it that way. All right, so now we've got to pick the size on each, the width on each side. So this is where you can start getting some crazy cool looking custom frames and things like that. In this case, we don't need anything super custom. So we just want to split the 4-inch width on both of these. So both of these are going to be 2. And I like to go ahead and pick the material when I first do it because it drives me nuts to see different colors. And I usually start with an aluminum just because sometimes I have an escape aluminum and that's one I really like to use. Say, okay. So you can just see what happened, right? It got fatter, but did you see what it did? It grew from the center up and down. So now this door panel's wrong. 6 foot by 6 and 11. So I have to adjust. So have you ever looked at a door schedule and you notice that it's 3 foot wide by 7 and 30 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's 7 foot tall, but it's 3 foot 1 and 27/64. That's because these vertical curtain grids are not aligned properly. That's how you get the shape horizontally, is you adjust these. That's why knowing that math is so important. And I'll show you another trick here in a second, but let's get this thing to where it should be. Right now it's 7.1. What do you think it's got to go to?
7.2.
There you go. This is an easy one for height. It's the width ones that get crazy, and I'll show you that in a second. Now you'll notice that these guys by default do not have a material, so I'm going to go ahead and give that the Enscape aluminum, so that way they're all white. Cool. We can always change that later. All right, so we've got that going for us. I'm going to go ahead and save this so I don't lose it. All right, now that that's saved, let's go. Let's see here. Let's go do these guys down here. So what do you think we do with these guys? You want to try to walk me through it?
Are you going to update it to another mullion type?
Yep.
Yeah. Do we have that? That's 8 inches.
We do
Is
not.
that...
We do
Okay,
not
so
have
we're going
it.
to have to edit type.
Yep. First of all, I selected them and I unpinned them. And I'm going to edit the type. And I'm going to duplicate this. And we're going to call it 8 inches by 5.5 storefront. And this is going to be 4 inches. And this is going to be 4 inches. So now we have an 8 inch down here. So now it's matching that pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not it's not exact yet, right? Because we still got to figure out where this guy goes. So this is going down to the ground. It doesn't give us that ability in that drawing. So we actually have something here that'll show us. So I can actually pull this temporary line up to other things in the model, right? And I might have to tab, but to the top of that, we know that they say 1 foot 11. Boom. Oh, one other thing. Will this door have a middle mullion or not?
I don't believe so. I think it's a pair.
Perfect. So there's 2 buttons here, middle mullion, middle through door. What these do, that's for an aluminum door where it has a middle mullion, but the outside, they still come together, right? So like a removable. Otherwise, you can just turn it off. It automatically adjusts the size of it. It doesn't change the door size at all. It changes the graphic, right? It makes these panels wider now, right? And let's say I, just so you can see this, if I pick this middle mullion, watch what it does. See how it grows it behind it. These panels don't change in size. But if I send it through the door, it shrinks those panels, even though they're still 3 foot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
Alright.
cool.
So when you did the 1'11", did you do that from the top of the 8 inches, or did you do
Yes.
it? Okay.
Was it
Yep.
yeah, but did you do the top
the
of the
middle?
mullion or the center of the mullion?
The center of this mullion, okay?
Okay,
if you,
so the top to the center.
to the top to the center, because in the drawing, in that frame
top
type,
to
that's
center.
exactly where they did it.
Yeah.
That
top
makes
to
it
center.
easy. Whereas
Yeah.
normally you'd have to do math, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You probably leave this down here at the bottom, and you'd know
Yeah.
you needed it at 2'6". You would not need to know that now I got to put it at 2'7".
Cool.
And then if you want, we can adjust this. What do you guys want this to be? Because it's obviously not going to be 1'5" anymore. And we can actually move this to the top so we can actually see what the middle to middle is. So if we made this 1'4", make this 1'6".
What do you think, Marcus?
I am looking for anything that aligns with those heights.
So, yeah, on that door schedule, I'm gonna look at that too.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up. So I'm just kind of looking at if there's anything that's at 12'6", which isn't a coursing dimension. So if I were to say, I would think it would need to be at 12'8".
12 foot.
So I
That
can
makes
take this at
sense. Because that would be
not
carry a
12'8".
line.
It would be either 8'8" or 9'4".
Yeah. Let's see, the band on the outside of the house or outside of the top of it is at 9'4".
So this would actually be at 9'3". This dimension here would be 9'3", and that'll
Yeah.
put the top of it in line with that coursing.
Yeah.
But the spacing massing is different. It shows that this one is supposed to be shorter than this one.
Yeah, and it needs to be the other, whatever the other option is.
So if 9'3", the next one would be 8'8", so this would be 8'7",
There.
right?
Yeah.
So now it aligns with this coursing, and you get the massings close. It's not going to be exact because we don't have the same dimension there because we've got an extra 2 inches of mullion. Does that make sense, Marcus?
Mhm.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And now we're going to set this thing up to be able to reuse it. Not that we're going to, but this is what you do with all of them. All right. So you can grab it in either spot. It doesn't really matter. You can grab it here, you can grab it there, you can grab it everywhere. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and group this. Now, chances are this is going to be aluminum frame type or door frame type. 1, no, 2, 3. I don't know how many you have. So I can usually put it as an X dash, and then I just give it a description. So I just call it this for now. So that's the name of the group. First thing I do is I'll move this, and this is crucial. I want to move this origin point, so that way if you ever need to switch these, if you pay due diligence to this, you can switch these out with other ones and you won't have to adjust anything.
Okay.
So this could be in the middle, could be right there, and then you can move it to the center of the door if you could find it, which you might have to do some additional work to find the exact center. But then you can rotate this so it's X and Y. And to find the center, the true center, is I would do this reference plane here. Just the heck of it. And let's go ahead and use this tool. I'm just going to use the temporary. Because reference planes are something that sometimes you want on and then most of the time you want off, right? Let's
So
just
do you
turn them on
think-
temporary.
Do you think that doing the center is the most efficient way, or is there another way that's more efficient?
Well, it depends because you got to kind of try to forethink of what you might have. Keep in mind that if the distances are going to change, if I use this point and the distance is different, then it's going to move it that way. So
Right.
in this
Okay.
case,
Gotcha.
I'm going to use the center,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yes. I don't
Alright.
use reference planes enough.
No, not a lot of people do. But what I want to do now is I want to come down here and move this down to the center. And I might want to do a reference plane from this way too, just so I can make sure I get it right on this back edge. Now what this will do is this will ensure that if I switch this frame where it in relation to where it is in the wall type or in the wall will be the same no matter which door I switch it to. Now this isn't exactly where it'll be, right? We need to push it out, but you'll see here in a second how that'll work. But now I can just at least move this guy to the center. So now the origin is there. I'm good to go. Now let's go inside of here for a second. And we know that most exterior windows and doors, depending on what this detail is going to look like, right? Usually you would take this CMU. I don't know if you'll have a return on it. Chances are probably not. Chances are this usually wants to be out here. Usually 2.5 inches is where I start from the exterior side of the mullion, or I'm not the mullion, of the masonry. So let's just do 2.5 inches. Let's see where it goes. It's not quite there because we want it to cover this entire part right here, right? So let's go another 1/2 inch and see where that goes. That'll cover it, right? That
Yeah.
covers that, and then your jip will return to the frame, right? So
Yeah,
that looks
and we
like a
don't
pretty
know
decent place.
the width really exactly on that storefront. You put it at 5.5 and it's 5 3/4. too.
Right. So that right there basically gets it now to when we create another one, we can switch them out and they'll go to the right spot
Awesome.
in the wall. All right, so now that I've created this group, we've created an X entry. I'm going to go back into here and I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to edit this type and duplicate it because we don't want every single curtain wall type to be called storefront exterior unlocked because then you can't schedule them. They all are the same and then you don't know which one is where, right? So I'm going to call this X entry, just like the group name. So now we know that this was the actual frame type with all the settings in it that we wanted. Are all this curtain wall type or this storefront type now.
Cool.
All right. So let's go
Okay.
ahead and create one last thing. I'm going to go to edit type. I'm going to change the type mark. So I'm just going to call this X because we won't know what it is yet. And then we can test it. So let's annotate, tag by category. Let's go to the tags menu, go down to walls and make sure we have the right one. So we don't want wall tag, we want wall tag, but curtain wall window. So it's a diamond.
Mm.
Hit OK. Now I can tab through. And if those were turned on, all tags. This one should be, it's not reading the right thing. Let me make sure. I think I had to fix this in another project the other day. Yeah, it's not mark. It's supposed to be type mark. You don't want them individually because who wants to micromanage that, right? You want it to be the type mark. So once I overwrite this, you'll see it'll fill in as X. There we go. And then there's no leader here. So technically you could tag this as a window, but we wouldn't. So we don't even need to worry about that one. It's when we do curtain walls that are windows that you're going to use that tag,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I probably would have confused you a little bit, but I wanted to show you how you can create that process that you use every single time to make sure you catch everything, right? Because in all actuality, this is going to have a door number to it.
Yeah.
So, you guys have any questions about that part?
No, I don't.
No, I mean, I'm gonna have to keep watching this video and do it and just do it.
Yep. Well,
Similar.
and the good thing is I mean, the next thing we're going to do is go throw this on the sheet and I'll show you how to document it, right?
No.
But the nice thing is once you get these in here, you can make changes to whatever. So if you know that your door actually, the door panel itself is,
Aluminum.
it's 1 foot at the bottom, let's go ahead and adjust that, right? So we can actually adjust that so your elevations are correct.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of important because we're going to want to show that. I mean, it's already there, but we're going to want to show that in our frame type or our door types. So let's go ahead and edit the type here, right? And most of these are at the bottom. So in essence, what a style is, okay, is a vertical.
Mhm,
So the hinge style is going to be right here.
mhm.
The hinge, or I should say the bottom rail, which is horizontal, is going to be this guy. So we want to set this to 1 foot to match that panel. Okay. So once we match that, we also have 8 1/4 for a thickness for the intermediate rail. So that would be the lock rail. So that'd be 8 1/4
Where are these numbers? Where are you getting these?
On the door
from your
schedule.
door schedule, the door
Oh,
type,
okay.
door type
Okay.
B.
Gotcha.
The lock style is basically this width.
Mhm.
So the lock style is 5 inches. So we'll change this to 5 inches. And then the only other thing that we need, well, we need the top rail. The top rail is 5 inches. So let's just do 5 inches there. And the lock elevation to center. They don't give us this dimension. Usually it's probably 3'3" or 3'4". It's wherever this, basically the center of where your push bar would be. As you can tell here, it's off a little, right?
Yeah.
So let's just do 3'2" and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Now
Our
you'll
hinge
notice
style needs to be 5 inches too.
hinge style, good call, good catch. All right, so we're gonna see this change. Okay, so let's go ahead and see. Boom.
Nice.
Now it looks like that the elevation to center isn't quite right. So what should be happening in here is the actual handle height should match this. So when we change this, this will match it. So if I do 3 foot and it doesn't, good to know. So I just applied that and it didn't move. So we might have to reload this family. So let me reload this family. So it's curtain panel, but technically it's a door.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. Keep going.
So I'm a curtain wall panel, door double, full glass. That's what I want. I'm going to reload that one. And I'm going to reload single because I know I've done something with that recently too, because I just saw it. All right, so let's try this again. Let's go ahead and go to edit type. We'll go down here and change this to 3'4". We'll change this to 3'4" and see what happens. Look at that.
Mhm.
Now the middles didn't move, and the reason why the middles didn't move, I think, is because I hard coded it to be 3'4". But let me just double check that to make sure. Door handle 3'4", it's locked. If we go over to the properties down here, offset, style elevation to center. Yeah, see, that's not working. So what's going on here? It did not move.
Mm-mm.
All right. So let's figure out why that's happening. I think it's because they're not associated yet. Yep, that's the problem right there. I didn't hard code it in. I hard coded in by leaving them here, but technically this should have that same association. I think it's lock style. Thought it was supposed to be. Yeah, that's it.
So when you guys changed
There we go.
the bottom from 8 to 1 foot, and then did the rail, the hinge style, was that was information that was on the door schedule from the one that we've
Yes.
received, and
Mhm.
then it's that particular door type, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
You got
I mean,
it.
that's obvious, but I actually had the hard copy sitting right next to me. I don't know why. I just haven't been looking at it. It's open to the door schedule
It's all
sheet too.
right. So the one I'm looking at here is I'm trying to find, I want to double check and make sure that this is fixed. So this should be 2.5 or 2 inches now that we've shrunk the, yeah, 2 inches. Because this is also a parameter that you can adjust in the project, and which you're going to want to adjust so the graphics don't look weird.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and actually, I'm going to go ahead and load this in and save it. Yes, I want to save it. I thought I had fixed that already, but apparently not. Write it. Yes. And because I didn't pick parameters, these are not going to move. So we got to go in and move them here. So that's a type, and it's down here in the dimensions section, and we're just going to change this to 2 inches. I could probably put a formula in there that'll do it for us eventually, but the other thing that you can do with these kinds of panels, and I don't know if you guys noticed, same thing as well, not these, never mind. I was gonna lie to you. I don't want to lie to you.
So also just on that door, it says it's aluminum. Is it showing up? Is it marked as aluminum in the
It's not set to anything right now.
okay.
What it is set to, there are a frame type hollow metal. For the frame, the panel material is set to wood right now. So you could technically change these, but
Yeah.
that's only going to be for rendering.
Oh yeah, that doesn't matter in plan, and that
It
doesn't
does
matter
not
for
matter
the
in plan.
for the door excuse me, the frame
Right.
types.
Because
Okay.
to get that to fill out properly, you would assign it again. I think you and I have talked about this, a door frame style. So it's aluminum, and the door style would be it looks like an FG2 exterior, FG2 aluminum, not a stud wall, but in a masonry wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I don't see that one, so we might have to create that one, but that's pretty much AL stud, AL CMU. There's the NAL CMU, but it's not FG2. Oh, here, that's an interior one. So that's probably what the inside one will be. So we would need to go to that key schedule. And then once you do that, then it fills this stuff in for you. So your door schedule's partially filled in.
Okay. Yeah, I had to do that. Yes, with Dahlgren, we had to do that.
Yep. The only other thing that I'll mention too, you can see how this door is slightly inset. There is an adjustment for that as well. And it's all, you have to adjust it based on the depth of this frame. And so it's basically the frame depth. So you just have to make this match. And it pushes it out to where it is supposed to be. So now you don't have an inset.
One more question. So when it comes to populating the frame types, can you share how that gets put on the sheet? I don't even think we have that sheet. Or oh wait, we do have that.
You do.
sheet.
Yeah, that'll be the next. That'll be the
Okay.
next thing. Actually, do we have Marcus back yet or no?
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
here.
Yeah. He's back.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this now because I don't need it. Okay. So now let's go to the sheet. So we don't need this floor plan anymore either. So notice I got this temporary view properties on. The reason why I use it a lot of times is because I don't have to remember to reset it. Because if I save the project and I close the project, next time I open it up, this temporary view properties is not going to be active.
I love that tool. I now use it all the time. I've shown Adriana like a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. That's how you can get around working in a sheet view without having to edit the view templates. So you can either work in a working view or you can work in a sheet view and just use that so you're not changing the view templates. Okay. That's weird. Two different types. Oh,
Stacked
it's a
wall.
stacked wall. Yes, sir. Good work. So this is a fun bonus tool, bonus tip, guys. I'm just going to go find this wall over here. I just need you to see it in 3D. So you can actually edit each one of these individually if you tab through. So I can tab through that one, edit type, and go to its structure and change this. So it kind of, you don't have to create a fake one and all of that. This is 7th gen studs, but this should be metal stud layer. Metal stud layer. There it is. And that'll change to the right color. Here we go.
Nice.
And then technically, if you could actually see it, you could tab through this one and go to this one and do the same thing, but it looks like it's the same. It looks like it's okay, so. All right, that's what it's supposed to look like. Okay, sorry for that sidebar here. Okay. So this one, we'll let you guys create this one and then we can come back and I can check your homework. So
Okay.
whoever wants to do that can do that one. And then if the other one wants to do another one that you have in here somewhere, you can do that.
Yeah, I'm
But
probably
using this
gonna-
family is totally cool, guys. Don't have a problem. I do not have a problem with this whatsoever. The only thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure you look at this in 3D and make sure that this is where you want it, or if you don't want one period, that you select the type and you can turn that off.
Okay.
So you can either turn it off or you can leave it on, which is probably what's going to happen, and you can
Yeah.
just adjust it.
Yeah, it
So
looks like
you're
it's similar that it's 8-inch bottom rail and then 1'11" to the top of the next rail.
intermediate. So what should this be? This should be what? 111 from the top. So let's do some math. It's 8 inches plus 111 is basically 2 foot 11. No, 2 foot 8,
2.6 or
2.7.
2.7.
But we want the center of it. So let's see if that's actually right. I don't think that's
2.6.
going to be right.
So you're 2.6, right? You're
Let's do it like this. Trying to dimension it from the vertical and it's not letting me do it. Let's do it like this. It's 2.6 to 8. And that's supposed to go to the center and it's not supposed to be 2. It's supposed to
Is the-
be.
is the bottom one 8 though?
No, I was going
Oh,
overall
I see what you're
height.
doing. Yeah, gotcha.
I mean, because technically, I mean, again, this one, I don't know that I have that built in to have a different base. See how this can really snowball? That's
Yeah.
why I don't have a bunch of these, because
Yeah.
I do not see a base one.
So then the best way to maybe,
Highlight sill height. There we go. I do
Okay.
have it in here. Look at that.
Hey.
Look at that. But
Right.
the question is that's not right, because that should be to the center. The finished floor should be 2 foot 7. No, that should be right, right?
2'7" to the center of the, yeah.
Now the only way to check that is to go look at this on your frame types, but I'm going to show you something cool about that too. So this is going to give me another opportunity to show you something else that's cool. So let's go and open up the door and frame schedule. Okay. So you can see how there's preset panels here, right? There's no frame types. With doors, because they're families, we can use a legend component. So with that, we can actually be in this door frame types. Okay. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how to do that. So if you go to annotate component and you pull down to legend component, all we have to do is go find one of those doors families. And it was called with side light, right?
I believe
So
so.
we're looking, I wish there was a search in this. There might be in 25.
Here's sidelight.
But
FGN.
and it's this one, what type of door is it?
It
it F?
was a, it was a full, it was a G or a,
I think it was a
Or
or a full
G.
glass.
So we'll just go with that. Okay. And then we don't want to pick plan, we want the front.
Oh.
And we know
That's
that we're
cool.
gonna have a single and a double. Do you want this to be number 3?
Sure.
Now this doesn't work with curtain walls, unfortunately. We have to do something that's called a frame type elevation, or what I call a frame type elevation. Show you how to set that up. We also have CAD files in here, so I need to turn that off. Now we won't see this red line across the bottom, or maybe we will, because there's something else going on here. what else is going on here? So technically we can turn off all this except for doors. And I guess we could have a floor on, but we don't have to. So there is something else going on there. Oh, I know what it is, I think. Give me a sec here. Don't ask me why, but even though that's turned off. Yeah, that's what it was. So now I can actually go in and turn off that whole. Don't ask me why that happens that way, but it does. All right, so the only other thing that we need to do is we need to turn off in this. We don't need to see that door type because this is just for frames.
Mm-hmm.
So I can turn off everything in here except for swing elevation, swing plan, opening's fine, hardware is off, handles off, frame mullions on. That's all we really need. There we go.
Beautiful.
So now I can use this to dimension, right?
Hmm.
So I typically would do this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you know if all these are going to be the same side light width?
I think so. I don't know.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
in the
that frame type
classrooms.
it'll be a type 7, but you know, and it's
So there is a 4 and there is a 7. So you're going to have one for each.
right.
Or
And the different have yeah.
or you don't have to have one for each. You can dimension it on the plan.
Oh yeah.
One or the other. So what
What's
I'm going
the
to do for
difference
this,
between the 4 and the 7?
the side light width is wider.
And it's shorter.
And it looks shorter. Yeah, they didn't do a good job
Yeah.
of putting the overall on that.
Well, it says on 4 it's 4'4", and on the 7 it's 4'7", and 1'11", and then this is it's the same. Oh my gosh, what did they do? No, yeah,
It's different.
No, it's different.
They're just they measured the
Centered
mullions
on
on one
one
of
and
them
yep,
and center line on the other.
not consistent.
Oh, that's terrible. Okay, I
Yep,
see.
agreed.
So really, there's two types there that they don't need.
Well, they do because of the width. So one is
Yeah, I
1'6", one is 1'9". Oh, do those match though? That goes to the center. So
Oh, yeah, they do.
that
6, 7,
is
8.
1'6". So that's you
I-
add 2. Oh no, you add 3. So yeah, they're the same damn thing.
They are the same.
They are the same thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and in my opinion, if there was something different, then we would just make them one. Because there's no difference, no reason
Yeah.
to have two separate
Yep.
ones. So
Yep.
just make them
Yep.
exactly the same.
And since this one has the B cut in it anyway, that's good. I don't know if there's head jam sills in here or something. Is that what it's referring to? The B cut on that type 4? And
Oh,
A
it looks
cut.
like a jam detail.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So this is fun. This kind of gets me a little excited because this is how I've always done my door frame schedules in the past. I usually would have my head jam sill details shown in my door schedule, the numbers for the detail, right? And I've got a really clever way, if I do say so myself, on how to make this work for you better than just static letters. So if the details moved on a sheet, I would use a review reference text note only, and it would change whenever you move those details around or renumbered them. So that's kind of cool.
Cool.
But I don't know if we need to do that here because a head jam sill, to me, you could easily do a cut on the frame, or there's a million different ways we can handle that. So when it comes time to do that, just let me know.
We're talking about detail and different
Head jam
frames.
sills,
Yeah. Okay.
just the head jam sill details. Like here, they have a. If you look at that 4, it's got a
Mhm.
B and an A, right?
Mhm.
But what does that go to? That doesn't make that's
Doesn't make any
so it's
sense. I was
A
just
and
like,
B.
where's it go?
Well, it shows A and B up at the top. So the A cut looks like it's the head. So
Mhm.
the head for this one is on 1A603. I don't mind that, but when you do that, you're going to start putting way more detail into this because then you're going to start using, okay, what's the difference between a hollow metal and an aluminum head, and which every manufacturer has their own way of doing it anyway. So why even give them a head jam sill, right?
Now you're talking my language.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's please relay that to the group.
yeah. Well, the funny thing is the funny thing is though, is some will argue that contractors are stupid and we need to be as clear as possible. And I hate that
Mhm.
argument.
I've heard that. I know that argument. Because I'm like, it's redundant. It's like, no, just do it. It's like, okay.
Yep.
But
Yep. So you can
Hey.
see on my screen here that this basically covers that entire, I mean, it covers us with everything, right? I mean,
Mhm.
it's, oops, 1 second, Kyle, and I'll get to you here.
Yeah.
So that gives us a 7.2. So that's probably not right because you probably want that at 7.4 as well, correct?
Well, if it's an interior, then that'll be fine because it'll be in a partition. We don't
Oh,
have
it's in,
that.
you don't have CMU walls interior?
What? No, and we
Cool.
we don't.
Okay.
But
Well,
it's a
then
call
this
by
works.
the BIA. Yeah.
So that works.
Yep.
that bottom one was supposed to be 8, though. Didn't we change that to 8?
Let's go look. Maybe it didn't flex it. Frame head height should not be 4 inches. It should be 2 inches. And the side light sill height should be 8. So did I use the wrong one? Because this is supposed to be G36 by 84. Yes. So let's go look at this.
It's a wrap frame. Is the other one a wrap frame or a butted?
Oh, good call. Good shoot. I just closed the wrong one. Good call.
Should be a wrap frame in the JIT.
Yeah, this should be a wrap frame, and then we need to open up that sheet again. Butted frame, good call. Got to be deliberate, right?
Mm.
So side light G. I got to redo those because they changed, but that's okay.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I needed to do here is I need to turn those lines off. I don't think that's it. I think it's this one. Nope, it's not that one. So let's go up here and see what the subcategory is. Subcategory is doors. That's wrong. That's why. This is supposed to be opening projection. Actually, I don't think it is. I think it's supposed to be L. It doesn't have the right. It doesn't have the right ones in here. Well, that's a bummer. Well, let me just load this one in for now. Maybe we can at least get rid of it temporarily, and then I can do on my own time. I can go fix that and give it the right subcategories.
Did I break it?
I don't think you did. All right, so that fixed that. And again, just do that quickly. Thank you, Kyla, for creating more work for us.
Yes, you're welcome.
What I like to do sometimes is I like them when they're close like that, but sometimes I like to put the additional ones below, just so it's not on the same line. It's a little bit easier to spot. So I usually pull that to there. Go there
So-
on the side. Here on
Well,
the
I know we were comparing number 4 and number 7, and then we decided that they were the same. But
Mhm.
if you look, did y'all see number 3 as well? Because 3 is
3
1
is
foot.
different. Yep, 3 is different. So you might not want 3, but there may be a location where I don't know why they did that, but you'd have to
Yeah.
find out in the plan where that is. So in order to
Yeah,
find
we'll
that,
talk
we'd have
about
to
it.
frame 3 is number 121. But yeah, I mean, you might be able to eliminate
Yeah.
that one too. This might be 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I only see it
So-
a couple of times, but yeah, we'll look at that.
So you do have some frames that are 2-inch heads and ones that are 4-inch head, but that's going to be specified out in the door frame. And the door frame type that we're gonna place on the sheet now is the next step. Crap, did I delete the floor line? If I did, I did not mean to.
Was that?
You
Oh,
turned it
I
off,
think-
didn't you?
yeah. I think when
Oh,
you
maybe I
turned off
did.
the red, it also, I don't know what happened.
Lines. Good call.
There you go.
And then this obviously gets extended and then you just grow above. So it wouldn't go 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6. It'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you might have to have another sheet depending on how many you have, and you're probably gonna have enough. So I would almost move this one
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
closer to here, and hopefully that'll do it. And that should give
Yeah.
you enough, hopefully, to get all the way across here. And then you'll just want to make sure you line this up the same way. So they read similarly, right? I don't know why this is way over here, but weird. It's not quite lined up, but you get what I mean.
Mhm.
All right, so you got number 3 here. And so notice how this stays in this view, right? That's really nice. I really wish curtain walls do that, but they don't. So you may have seen this. I'm going to go ahead and close this family, and I don't care about that. I'm sorry if this is taking longer than you expected.
Happy that
No.
I'm happy that you're deep diving in with us while we're here, because this will be better for us in the long run,
Yeah, absolutely.
for sure.
Can
Go
you
ahead.
show, where was that door located? Do you kind of remember? Only because what I'd like to do is to get all the other doors that were the other type and then change them all to that type. Does that make sense?
It does not make any sense to me at all.
Well, like
There's
to
a lot
go
of
to the
that's and there's that I'm not quite following.
so the door that we just updated that's on the right with the 8-inch.
Yes.
So I would like those are populated throughout the project. So can you just zoom out so I know where that is? So that way we can choose all the other doors that are that kind, select all, and
Switch
then
'em
change
out.
them all to the same kind if they aren't already, unless that did the job.
That looks like it probably did. I don't see any other ones that are not highlighting.
Okay,
Although this is only the first floor. I don't know if there's more than one floor.
that's it. And I do see one of those doors going to the exterior, so we'll just have to fix that later, but okay.
And this is a butted, so this one, that's the reason why that one's different. But that one might
No,
need to change.
there's one that goes out to the playground on the inside of the L, to the left right there, by the, yeah, to the right, yeah, right there. That one's,
Oh,
oh,
this
actually,
guy?
all three of, no, that single right there, and then the one next to it, and then the one next to that to the left. It's like goes 1, 2, 3 outside of each of those classrooms. Those are all exterior. they're-
I see. So these should be butted frame, and you're saying, okay,
They
yeah, I
need
see what you're
they
saying.
need to change to that type that's up front.
Yeah, so this guy is the butted one, right? I think. Butted, yes. So we can just paint these.
Mm-hmm. Boom, boom. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
And then
Oh gosh, there's
this
another one up there.
this one probably needs to have the dimensions changed too, because we didn't change it on this one, right? So the side light one, we got to pick these. This one was 8 inches. The styles were 5 inches. Oh, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, 5
styles are 5.
inches.
Or which door? We're talking about that storefront door?
Inch style, lock style, yeah.
8 1/4. 8 1/4 for the lock rail.
Lock
The locks-
rail.
Lock
Where's the
style
lock
was
rail?
5.
Lock rail, where's the lock rail?
I mean,
Top rail what was the top rail?
5.
5.
We're making that door type D again, right?
Hold on just a second. I don't want to answer you wrong. Frame head height is 2 inches, bottom rail 3 6.5. That really was going to be 2 7 if I'm not mistaken. And then where is Frame intermediate. Oh no, that's the frame intermediate height. That's so these are in different places, so that sucks. Or handle offset. It's gonna be 2 inches. Why am I missing? I'm missing the. Oh, there is no lock rail because it's a G.
Yeah. Just
Oh, right. Okay. So yeah.
So the bottom, I think I just screwed that up because. Yeah, I did. I made it a G. No, it is a G.
yeah.
Yeah, so what I did down here didn't really matter. The bottom rail I did at 2.7, and I didn't change nothing, which is probably a good thing. So that one really doesn't do anything because it's not an FG2. So some of these parameters exist in all of them, even though because this family you can change this to an FG or FG2 or something, right? So the FG2 you can actually control this height, whereas this one is hard coded. All right. So we did that one, and then you're saying that there was another one somewhere.
That one up right there at the top.
This one?
Yeah. Yeah, but that might not be the same. No,
Yeah,
it's a
not.
totally
It
different door
doesn't.
type.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
have a side light. Okay, so let me save this one. And then I'll show you right now how to throw the frame type of the one we just created on the sheet.
Okay.
It's going to seem convoluted, I promise you, but it's worth it in the end.
I know. I remember looking at it and I remember you showing me on Dahlgren. I just don't even, I could never duplicate it though.
Yep, and you're going to want to do these in your working views. You're going to want to
Yeah.
originate these in your working views. So
For sure.
let's go to view. We're actually going to create an elevation. And we're going to pick the family type, frame type elevation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it has this applied to it. All this stuff is applied to it already. All right. So I don't have elevations turned on here. So I need to go in here and turn on the elevations. Right. So view, elevation, frame type elevation. And as you go towards each, see how it automatically flips for you?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's nice about it. So I'm just going to place that guy right there. Then I'm going to select this guy and I'm going to shrink this down to match the width of the door so it's not so doggone big. Now it can be slightly wider. And what I like to do is shrink this up and move this as close as possible. So you don't get extra stuff later on if somebody does something with sight or whatever. All right. So now we have this guy. This thing is called, yeah, we need to get the height right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because it is a true elevation and we can leave it slightly out. Now this frame types I got to edit because the Code Day School DWG was brought in after the fact. And I have to leave walls on because that's what curtain walls are, right? So I don't need doors. I do need these three. I do need detail items. I do not need expansion joints. Don't need piers. Don't need structural tendons, and I don't need that. But I do need walls. Because if I turn off walls, then the curtain wall goes away. So do you know what I do? The quickest thing is to select the group, right? Go down here and isolate element. And then instead of resetting, you're going to apply it. So basically just hit all that stuff. This view name is X entry. And there is no title on sheet because we don't need one because we're going to put it up here for number 4. So now let's go find that guy. It's under frame type elevations right here. There's X. Drag that over here. I'm going to turn the view type to none. Oh, title. And I'm gonna attempt to put this on this line as close to it as I can. Move it over. Double click inside here, copy number 4. And let's dimension this guy out. Because of where I selected that, I need to move these up, otherwise it looks dumb at the top.
Mm.
Because I selected them down here, right, to start.
Mm-hmm. So it went,
That's why.
started it.
Yeah, so
Or
it starts them down there, but they'll snap to where they're supposed to go once you get ones that are close to it. All right, and then how they did this other one, I mean, I don't mind doing this the same way, right? Changing this to see schedule. And see schedule. With these ones, it's kind of hard because you don't want to pull them out because it doesn't really do you any good.
Mhm.
You know, the one thing you could do is bring this down like that, maybe.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. Cleaner.
Yeah, and then this guy, I mean, this guy is right in the center just because it's obvious. And then you pull these down. And I'm just tabbing through to get to those. Actually, I like to pull these all off to the same side, so sorry, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm just gonna redo that one. I don't want to move all those stupid things again. Sorry. Does this look pretty easy?
The dimensioning, yeah, sure.
The whole thing in general.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that.
It's funny. And then, you know, you could put your GL1 on here. I mean, you don't have to because, I mean, you can. I mean,
Oh,
that's
for
what I
the
never understood for your glazing types because, you know,
Temporary glass. Or
yeah,
the
or whether
tempered
it's,
glass.
yeah. And then same thing here, you can adjust these here too, and they adjust in 3D.
Oh, you're adjusting the way that they're joining.
Yeah, but if you notice this error that I keep getting, it's letting me do
Mhm.
it because there's only one group. If I would have had more than one of these,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have let me do that. And you'd want to do it in 3D. But
So, okay. Gotcha.
so chances
So you're
are,
saying if there was more than one of these, but I don't think that there's more than one, that in 3D it would override
it would
that.
want you to create a new group, and you don't want that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I can't even tell from them if these are even right. But my guess is that these do go all the way through. Those two outside ones.
I would think the jam goes from head to toe.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah,
so now we have
we
that.
can mess with that.
Now you just got to
Yeah.
remember that you have two views here. So you might have several views. If you want to move these around, make sure you grab them all. Because trust me, I've done this before. Oh shit. You know,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
so you just want to make sure you only do
Oh,
it 5 or
okay.
6
There's
times.
views in there. Okay, gotcha.
Yep. There's views
Yeah,
on top of
because-
views.
Yeah, because that group has its own elevation view.
Yep.
It's like it's on, yeah, it's on and
Be-
unto
because
itself.
I can't do a legend component of a curtain wall system, unfortunately.
Right, right.
It'd be really awesome if I could. And it's been a while since I checked, so maybe I should check this real quick. But it's because it's gonna. Does it do curtain walls, curtain panels, but it doesn't do the mullions. Yeah, because those are system families that are nested. Nested system families are what curtain walls. Oh, look at this.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. See if I can actually pick the right one.
Thought you picked the right one.
I thought you did too.
Oh, see, it's not gonna let me do the and okay, yeah, it doesn't let me do it. Boo.
So
a bummer.
okay, because my brain is turning to mush now. When you're scrolling through that, when you go to that component, and can you just refresh me? So whenever you're doing that, that is to add the frame type for
The families.
door, for the
Yep.
door families.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it's basically
that's it.
bringing in this frame type. That's all I'm doing it for.
Yeah, it was like I just had to remember that you go to annotate and then component, and then you scroll from that family. Because that's just like something that I don't do on a regularly.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I know I'll get there, and I know I'm gonna get twisted and be like, Jason, where's that thing where you hit component?
You're right.
But
So this is the other thing. You can do these for these panels too, but these are all just dummy lines. And
yeah,
I want to get rid of that.
Yeah, I
But
get it.
but the only way you can actually put these here is if one exists in the project. You can't do it if it doesn't exist.
Yeah, gotcha.
So you probably
it's
don't
just
have
making
any of
it
these.
smarter.
Right, it is. And you'll notice here that it's showing the frame. So this view basically needs to be set. Well, I'm doing it in the wrong one. First of all, I need to be in this one when I do it. So component, door frame FG2. Problem is I've got to turn off everything now except for the doors and then the subcategories. And this should be all set up before you guys get in there, but dressing plan, frame, no frame, glass is fine, no handle, no hardware, no opening, the panel's fine, no swings. See what that I turned off everything and it turned off the line work. So technically I should be turning the line work back on, but lines and text notes and dimensions, but those are under annotations. There we go. But that, and then again, for whatever stupid reason, I got to turn on generic models first, go down here and change all of these to off, and then change that to off. It's the weirdest thing.
That's bananas. Yeah.
Yeah, but now this could be placed up here and the same thing can be done with it.
Okay.
You know? So I'll leave this down here just in case. You guys can use it if you want, or you can continue using these. It doesn't bother me none.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Because this also shows the glass stop.
Yeah, I'm all for showing things that are smart, if we have that opportunity. If it
I am
updates
too.
one place, then we do it, as long as it's not convoluted, then I'm all for it.
Yep. So you would do the same thing with your window frame types. I do all windows as curtain walls, all. I have zero differences other than I do have a borrowed light with 1, 2, or 3 verticals that I have used in the past. But again, I'd rather just use the curtain wall system so I can, duplicate them and keep track of them the same way as I do everything else.
Okay. So start with the curtain wall locked, etc. Do the same thing.
You storefront interior locked for the interior ones for exterior. I mean, I can do a quick exterior one for you if you want. It's up to you guys.
You can, but I don't know how much more information. I'm feel saturated.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. Yeah, it's
absolutely saturated. So
I mean, the reason why I'd like to do one really quick though is so I can set the nomenclature for naming. Yeah, and that's it. If you think you guys can figure that out, then we can go with it.
No, let's do it.
I mean, we can watch this video later. Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do. Do you know where like C is in the plan? I don't have a floor plan,
C?
but yeah, it'd be
Oh.
aluminum frame type C.
Let me see.
It looks like an exterior, but it could be
I
an
know where
interior.
D is.
I'll do D. That's fine. If you know where D is.
Well, we haven't got one in the plan yet. So that's the
No.
problem.
No, I'm gonna build
Well,
it. I
he's
just have to
looking
know
at,
where it's at.
yeah,
It's
let me,
it's in all the classrooms. It's
It's an
so
interior.
any
Is it
classroom
interior?
would have a D or a C, basically. It's an exterior window. D and C
Okay.
are both.
Oh, over here somewhere.
yeah, that's the exterior, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
these are the classrooms
Yeah.
Yeah.
over here and over here,
Mhm.
I'm assuming. So if I put one right here, that's good.
Yep.
Cool. I'm just gonna do this fast.
Yeah. Down and
We'll
dirty.
see. Yeah, we'll just see how I can do this. Now, just like walls, you do them clockwise, right? And that'll make the exteriors go where you want it to go. So you don't have to flip them. Helps if I pick the right one. Storefront exterior locked. That is the right one. How wide is this? This is 4 feet. Just unlocked. Okay. Right click, disallow. Right click, disallow.
Did you hit disallow twice?
Yeah, I have to do one on each end.
Oh, okay.
Right click the
Yeah,
dot,
that's where it
disallow
would, that's where it would join. Okay, that
Yep,
makes
that's
sense.
what I'll join and change the length of your windows, which if you have doors in it, they'll change your door widths and all
Yeah.
kinds of fun stuff.
Gotcha.
All right, so this is an exterior unlocked. I'm gonna go ahead and group it. I'm gonna call this number C.
Yeah, C's fine.
Let's
Yeah.
D.
call it
Yeah, so
C or D. Because the first four are obviously exterior, right?
Yeah.
So we'll call that D. So now you have a difference between a frame types or numbers, door frame types or numbers, window frame types or letters. So that's how you'll figure that out. So I'm going to duplicate this.
Except we made our storefront window for the door an A.
what?
No, we made it number 3
Ah,
or number 4. Sorry.
that's right. That's
All
right.
So I'm just going to edit this type. I'm going to go down here and change this to the D. And this is pretty close to being good to go. So the only other thing I got to do is I want to rotate this. I want to put this in the center all the way to the back. Create my reference plane quickly. Turn reference planes on. And I'll show you another secret tip to speed this up for even faster if you want at some point. Here, I'll do this. And I will rotate this around because we want it to point to the exterior side of the wall. And then let's move this to 3 inches away, right? That's what we decided to start with at least.
I think so.
Finish that. Let's select this. Look at this in 3D. I'm going to close this view. All right, let's do our work. So we know the bottom of it wants to be 2'8" from the ground. The overall height of it is 8'8". Doing some quick maps. Delete. And now we can pick this guy and move this to 3'9". And we can place a curtain grid in the middle. And the only other, I think I did get it 4 feet, so looks pretty good. It's pretty good to me.
Yeah. 6 feet overall, 4 feet wide.
So I'll do an elevation, frame type elevation. Take this, shrink it up.
Does it matter where you put those frame top elevations? When you
No,
just put
because
them on
they,
the working views or
you just put on your working views, because if they show up on your plans, then a filter is missing from your view template for those plans.
okay.
So this looks pretty good. So this is where I get a little bit different here. I'm actually going to make sure that floors are turned on. So I'm gonna pick this, and I also want the floor if I can find it. Well, let's just hide this. I do not see the floor because it
It's
is
covered with the site.
beyond.
Mm.
So what I'm gonna do is I like to annotate and just create a reference plane, not annotate, create a reference plane, place it right down here on the bottom. Go in here, turn this, let's select this to isolate element. Let's apply to the view. And then I like to enable temporary views, and we will go turn on the reference plane so we can locate it on the sheet. So it's right there. Let's change the name of this. This is D. So we know letters are
Mhm.
windows and numbers are frames. Don't have to pick a title on sheet. So now we can open up our door frame. And let's go up here and grab the frame type elevation again. So it's D. And we will put that as D. Set this to no title. And we will try to use this to put on this line as close as we can. You can't get it perfect, but ultimately you need something to be able to
Yeah, they dimensioned
dimension
it
to.
off of for like the height off of the finished floor, which I may
Yes.
not necessarily like that at here, but may be relevant.
Yeah, I mean,
But 2 foot 8's right.
it makes sense. I mean, off finished floor to me anyway.
Yeah, just the location of the may just need to be once on the elevation, I guess. So, but I get it.
So I mean, I basically have done one of each for you guys
Love it. Thank
to
you
be
so
able
much.
to go off of. And these will, so there's a preset in these dimensions that'll automatically space them from each other. See how that infers up at the top,
Mhm.
the dash lines.
Yeah.
And then this one will be across. This over to there. And again, you might have to adjust these later, like locations and things like that. You do have to open up another extra view, but at least.
Yeah, we don't expect you to do everything for us.
Right, there you go.
Thank you
Speak
so
for
much.
yourself, Marcus. Just kidding.
You at least
That's
need to
funny.
show me how to do it.
So you'll want to leave reference planes on in these because
It'll be dimension 2, right? Or no,
yeah, it's going to be
dimension
dimension to it, right? Correct. So my frame types, I'm actually going to use leave reference planes on. I've always meant to do that, and I just never did. The big thing here, guys, is you try to lay this out, you know, I mean, we already have a layout, right, based on this
Yeah.
thing, so it makes it a lot easier. But you know, in a regular project, the same things apply. It's just you don't ever want to name them up front. That's why these are X entry, because you can't have the same name, right? So this is called X entry. I can have another one called X dash standard small or whatever kind of verbiage you want to use. So that way, when you go back later to renumber and rename, you can get them right here and then get them right on your plan when you tag them.
Okay.
I mean, it's easier if I've created this guy. If, I could go in here and do a type mark for the group and we could tag those. But I didn't want to confuse people around. They just made that available a few versions ago. So what I do is I will actually, the actual frame type, that's why I duplicate these, so they can have their own type marks, right? So that way when you
Mhm.
tag them in plan, because your windows you will tag in plan,